Moving on, let's talk about Dwight Howard. He was just here on Friday, introduced as one of the newest members of the Wizards yesterday. This is Dwight's fourth team in 4 years, and
he's on tour.
This guy, he was asked about it, and so let's just listen to his response.
I started with the Magic. So I learned Magic for 8 years. Traveled to La La Land. Learned how to work with Rockets. And I went and learned how to fly with some Hawks. Got stung by the Hornets. Just a joke. But through all of that, you know, it's taught me how to be a wizard, you know, so.
He's funny, no?
Who laughed at the second line? Like, who was in there that was like, this is so uncomfortable, I'm already going to laugh?
No, he was on the show. I have to say this. I asked him about his new gig, and this was on Friday. And I said, how do you feel? He was like, well, I am going to be playing next to the Dwight House. Get it? You got, okay.
So he has a right.
I can see why,
like, Cari,
I can see why they applauded when he left the locker room.
They're like, get out.
It was like, get out.
We don't want no more
Take
of
those
this.
jokes with you. Take
No,
those
no. And all jokes aside, seriously, he had a pretty good season, 17 and 13 when he was with the Hornets. What's the rap with him? Like, I almost feel as if it's just his reputation precedes him, but he still is a good player and has a lot of value left.
He had 17 and 13. Everybody said he had his best season in 3 years. And the first order of business when Mitch Kupchak got the job was get Dwight out of here. The Nets took him on and said, you're going. Because they didn't want a part of him. And, like, I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, but why?
But his teammates, they don't want a part of him. They don't think that what he brings to the game is helpful on a chemistry standpoint. And, I mean, I can sit here and go, hey, you know what? In a pick-and-roll situation with John Wall, I can see how that would really work. And, you know, he's going to protect the rim, and he's going to, you know, give some backup to their perimeter defense. But I said that the last 3 years. And the Hawks wanted rid of him. The Hornets wanted rid of him. And the Nets said, don't even come.
Wait,
I do wonder.
Let me ask you a question, though, seriously. And I was going to ask Ryan this, too, because you had mentioned something to me in the makeup room. You didn't get any makeup, but you had mentioned something while I was
You didn't get
a light
makeup?
touch-up.
You got a light touch-up. You look good.
Yes.
Why do you think people don't like this guy?
Oh, look, I thought it was really weird when he came on the show, not recently, but like the first time when you guys had it out in the LA thing, is that, let's face, like, you can't work at that many places and all have them immediately want you out of there and then have it be this narrative that's a false narrative. Like, eventually you kind of have to look in the mirror and go, is this on me a little bit as a teammate? And it seems everywhere he goes, nobody ends up having a happy ending here. And then when he came on the show, he was kind of like, yeah, I'm just misunderstood. You're like, well, what do you mean by misunderstood?
I can see that, though. He has a sense of humor that's a bit off. And if he's making those kind of jokes,
I think he just annoys guys. I think he annoys guys, and I think eventually when he doesn't get touches. Actually, it's a perfect fit, LZ. You want to know why?
Why?
Because Dwight is probably the most delusional player of his generation, going to one of the most delusional teams in the league. The Wizards think they are the toughest guys on the court. They talk all the talk, and they almost never back it up. So I would never do it. Like, this is the most mentally fragile team in the league, and you're adding this guy that's constantly been a problem in all these other teams.
Allegedly.
But in a way, it's a perfect fit.
Okay. I believe part of the reason why he was traded so quickly was because of Mitch Kupchak. Because remember, Mitch signed him or traded for him to come to LA. Didn't work out. Might be some bitterness left over there. Didn't get a chance to even deal with that. But with that being said, he can't escape the reality that locker rooms clap when he gets traded. Now, I think that they're overplaying the amount of disdain that players have for him, because he does do things well still. And I do believe that we're heaping on him because he is a good guy. He's not a bad person, never gotten into trouble. I've covered him since he was in high school. I've never seen him do anything that was egregious in terms of really hurting anyone.
Well, I think Brian, what you said, annoying really does go a long way if people feel some type of way about you. But I will say this. Do you think, Brian, he needs to speak up more? Does he need to? Because he really pretty much doesn't say anything. You think he should just be quiet and let people talk back?
Yeah. And the thing is, John Wall takes care of his big man. That's why it was so strange why he and Gortat didn't like each other. Because how many assists did, you know, John Wall said this. All right, I'll go find somebody else to get wide open shots at the rim. He did. He got Gortat hundreds of open shots at the rim. John Wall's a great player to play with. I mean, I can see why Dwight's excited. I can see why John's excited. But they were excited in Atlanta. They were excited in Charlotte. You know, they were excited in Houston. The other thing is, as the game has changed, you know, a couple of things happened here. Number one, Dwight got hurt. He hurt his back, and he hasn't quite been the same player since. That's not his fault. But hasn't been the same player since, and the game has moved to a space game, which Dwight has not adjusted to. So in addition to the fact that maybe he rubs people raw in the locker room a little bit, he's kind of had sort of what happened with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose got hurt, wasn't his fault. He got hurt, and then the game changed on him a little bit, and he doesn't fit anymore. And so that's what Dwight's pushing against. It's not just because he makes jokes in the locker room.
So he needs to adjust his game, is what you're saying he needs to do. If he can.
Cari, he's needed to adjust his game for 5 years.
But he can't.
But DeAndre Jordan, Clint Capella, they all have very similar games, and they found ways to still be valued. So something about Dwight beyond the game has to be the thorn in the side of these guys.
Well, I think if you go back to Houston, there were times where it's like, I'm not getting the ball enough. And we're still talking about somebody who's never really polished his post game to have finishing moves, to be out on the court and get those touches in a close game late. And I think that's always bothered him as a player, which I totally understand. You're doing all the work, you're defending, you're rebounding.
Sure.
I want more touches. But I think it's rubbed some of the really great scores that he's played with the wrong way, too.
Now, before we go to break, do you want to show us how he can basically polish up his game in the post, or no? You want to get out here and not so much?
Do we have a ball?
Oh, we do not.